Well, first, let's forget about everything else. Let's forget about what's happening outside. Let's forget about the world. Let's just focus our energy for the startup because they're going to pitch and it's not easy. So they need our benevolence. And just, there is 3 cameras. It's recorded on YouTube. We have a 30K subscriber channel. So whatever is said tonight is going to be forever lost on the internet. So yeah, you can also find this edition on our YouTube channel. I will send you the link through the workshop, through the meetup. And now I just want a huge and warm applause for Sticky. This is going to be the first one to pitch.
Yeah, here I brought you a quote by Sam Altman. Sam Altman, he's the president of Y Combinator. Y Combinator, it's a famous startup accelerator in San Francisco, and they see and support tons of startups. And he basically talks to a lot of founders, and a lot of founders tell him that they regret that they start way too late with writing things down. And writing things down means writing down how you do things and why you do things. So how you do things is stuff like, manuals, how you do support, how you build your product. And the why you're doing things is stuff like, why did you start it? So the history of your company, your vision, your goals, every cultural stuff. And if you work in a startup and your team doesn't write things down right now, you should definitely start today. Why? Because writing things down is pretty awesome. Because it makes it a lot easier to work in a team. When you write things down, you make knowledge available. People ask less questions. You have more answers, and so this boosts your productivity. And everybody is on the same page because your team becomes more transparent. So you don't question the vision. Everybody knows where you're heading to, what your goals are. So you can make better decisions. And in the end of the day, you get more things done. Unfortunately, writing things down is amazing. Unfortunately, the software you can use to write things down isn't that amazing. There are software apps like Confluence, MediaWiki. Some use Google Docs, but all of them are a bit slow. The UX isn't that nice, so people don't use them really, and they don't write things down. So this is kind of a big problem. And I realized that when I was looking for a fast and easy to use wiki app myself a few months ago, and since I couldn't find one, I started building Sticky. I call it the wiki that works because it's focused on speed, easiness, and it's hopefully well designed, and it works on your mobile phone as well, so you can make your notes available to everyone, everywhere. It's basically really, really fast. It's built on top of Slack, so you log in with your Slack account, so everybody in your Slack team can just use Sticky, so it's no extra user management, and it's easy to use. It's like a medium.com-like editor, so everybody can hopefully start making notes, writing things down, and let your team become more knowledgeable. Here's some early feedback. Right now, Sticky is in private beta. I have 3 teams using it right now. I'm ready to scale to more teams. And if you want to join the private beta, feel free to just talk to me today. It's perfect for small teams up to 10, 20, 30 people. And like I said, using Slack is kind of a requirement. Yeah, Snoop Dogg doesn't know as well that Sticky is something really nice. And if you have any questions, right now I'm building the project just on my own. So if you know people who might be interested in such a project who want to join me, I'm looking for JavaScript developers in particular, please just let me know. Thanks for your thanks.
Good presentation. I think I got what you're doing. The flamingo is off. Sorry, this guy. So how do you plan to price the product? Is it going to be freemium, or how do you plan to make money with this?
Right now there is no free tier, so it's not freemium. Right now it's €9 up to 10 users, €29 a month up to 20 users, and 49 up to 50, and 99 for unlimited users. But this is just a private beta price. The pricing might change soon, but everybody who joins me soon gets this pricing, and I won't change it in the future. So this would be your quick win, what you could get. So it's classic software as a service subscription pricing.
Okay.
Actually, maybe it's just me, but you're using background that's green, and it just takes me all the way to Evernote.
Okay.
And even though Evernote is kind of, meh, okay, then it reminds me a lot of Evernote. Evernote's actually a pretty easy editor. You can connect it with Slack too. It works really well on my phone. So how is it? I mean, there's gazillion softwares to do this, a lot. Hey, fan number one of Medium, don't get me wrong, okay? But I'm feeling that might not be, or at least I didn't see enough differentiation power here, especially when you see and get exposed to a lot of projects, especially in this space, enough differentiation that's going to make you stand out. Actually, it was interesting when you asked, like, how many of you would use it, because I'm pretty sure that if I ask you who here uses any kind of note editing software, raise your hand. Okay, what would make you change your software? Exactly. Okay, so I think no one actually got the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not an easy answer, but it's not my job. It's his job to say that. So, it's not my job. So your job is to actually, that you should have given them that answer somehow.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot for the feedback. Good points. Do you want me to answer?
Sure.
First of all, I disagree that Evernote is a good product, but Sticky does three things good. It's fast, it's easy to use, and it's integrated. So fastness, performance means it will be always fast. So I don't need to tell more about that. It will be easy to use. So every feature I will build will be feel more natural in the way you use it. And I start with Slack right now, but of course I will build more integration so it can become kind of a context layer for all your knowledge you have. So meaning Slack conversation, Google Docs, Sheets, GitHub issues, whatever. I know that this isn't such a huge reason to, or this doesn't sound so mind-blowing, but even with only these three features, it is a better product than every tool I tried. So because there is Confluence, there is Evernote. Evernote is not really made for team usage, so Sticky is made for teams. And what it does better than a lot of other tools, it makes internal linking really good. So in the future, I will always make sure that it's easy to capture structure and find your knowledge, because structure is a requirement so that you can find it later and that it stays up to date. So I will always work along these three steps. But right now, sure, it's a private beta. It's only a few months old. There aren't that many killer features.
So exactly what you just said is what it would have been really great to hear. Okay. So you have an answer. So my point is, like, the fact that you're focusing on the team part, on the deep linking structure, that's valuable. Yeah. That's something that I think you should highlight a little bit more, because that's what's going to make the difference. And in people's mind, you go like, oh, okay, I can work with that stuff. Okay. So I was just playing devil's advocate here. Okay. I want you to see that you do have the answer. You just need to probably push it a little bit.
I'm totally grateful for your feedback. So thanks a lot, man.
I agree with what's been said. I think that you have a difficult product to pitch because it's boring, like Wiki is super boring, and your job is to make it super not boring, or at least seamless. And the problem is that in order to do that, you need to create empathy at some point, It's not about like you building the product, it's about you pitching. I think you could have told a story, like the story by telling the story of a guy, your typical customer or potential customer, that goes through this pain of having, to get this knowledge somewhere and going through these weird wiki pages. And it's really visual, you just have to put it on the screen and say that sucks because 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just recontextualize this by saying, like, I was in this position. And Tobias, I am obsessed with that kind of things, because we want to know why you will never quit this kind of crazy mission to make Wiki great again. Because if you're a little bit happy with the project, you're going to quit. If you're absolutely 100% passionate and just pissed off, or I don't know what, then you're not going to quit, which is going to make a great product at some point, because everybody else is going to quit. So we want to know that. We want to understand that you understand the problem because you feel it, and that you will never quit, and that here's what you're going to do and what you're doing to actually make the solution 10 fucking times better. Because until we don't get in our mind, not by saying, hey, it's awesome, because that's like American way, it's awesome, and then sign up here, no, you just need to actually get the simple things maybe by examples, maybe by pitching again and again and again, and standing by looking at the eyes to the people, saying, okay, this clicks. When I say this feature or this example or this case, it clicks. By doing that over and over again, then you'll know what thing you need to put in a 5-minute pitch. So then the people click as well. And then the client click as well. And then the future maybe co-founder will click as well. That's the thing, we want to hear in a 5-minute pitch. It's not all the rational reason why you think you're better, but it's the perfect, pointy sticks that is going to pierce my brain, or it's going to pierce the market, or it's going to pierce anything that I think at some point is going to make you successful. So that's my whole feedback. Like I am 100% sure that you're like like super obsessed about this thing. I'm sure there is a better way to put it to the people.
Oh, great stuff. Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, man.
Other question?
I can tell you why I'm building it, if you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because a few years ago, I had the chance to work in an organization where we had a really good wiki app. And it was amazing because everybody was on the same page. It was a 50-people organization with a lot of changing employees, but you can onboard a person within a few weeks when it's just written down. So you just go to the wiki, everything is there, so you don't need to ask questions all the time or interrupt your co-workers, and you can just use the stuff. The only thing is, to get a wiki that active, it needs a really easy to use software, because otherwise the barrier to use the software is too high. And if it takes you 10 seconds from your initial thought to start writing, you won't do it, basically. And that's why I want to create a fast wiki app.
You start like, hey, who has been pissed off by getting disturbed by coworkers? Every fucking people is gonna raise their hands. I have been too, and and it's like, it sucks because this and that, and that's because then people have no information, and then you have a pitch, it's done. Then there you go, and people connect, they feel like that, and then they give you all their emails so you can subscribe them in.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure. Thanks, guys.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Nico, and one of the co-founders of Sender. I use this one? Yeah, okay. I thought it doesn't work. So our mission at Sender is to build the largest fleet of European trucks and vans. It is our aim to become the sole outsourcing provider for companies. So we are purely B2B focused logistics company. So logistics today is a industry that's solely focused on subcontracting. It's basically every big logistics company is like a pyramid. Subcontracts to somebody who subcontracts to third one. So it's totally normal that you have 3 to 4 different layers of middlemen in between the truck driver and actually the actual client. So cutting out this whole chain of middlemen, it really helps us to really lower the prices a lot. The second one is there's massive price transparency. There's no way you can compare anything in this industry. It's really tough to differentiate between customers unless, and that is one of the reasons why the big 4 companies like a Kühne Nagel, like a DB Schenker, who actually dominate these industries in Central Europe. There's the whole booking process as of today is still offline. It's email, it's phone, it's fax a lot. We get a lot of responses for fax. So everything is handled manually. There's very little automation in the whole process. And the fourth point, it's very hard to differentiate between different logistic companies in terms of quality, in terms of time performance, and so on. The way that we try to fix these things is basically focus on 3 things. A is cutting all the middlemen in between. All the freight forwarding companies there in the world, essentially we are one too, that is a fact, but cutting out all the other ones. Introducing transparency, giving people different options, giving people different ways of sending things. And third one, becoming a one-stop shop, so you only have one company you need to go to and it is integrated with your technology. I think if you look at how we do this, is a bit different than a typical marketplace, a typical that simply connects carriers and carriers and clients. What we really focus on is that we deeply integrate along the whole value chain. So we integrate with our customers, we integrate with their ERP systems, with their logistics, warehouse management systems, with their transport management systems. Because if you look at the big companies that use road freight today, they're not logging in online. You can do that with us as well, but they're not logging in online, but they automatically push orders through an API integration. And doing this on the other side as well, really integrating every single truck that drives to us through an app, through telematic system, so we know wherever any load is that we're currently running through our system and playing that back to our customers. The market, obviously, logistics is huge. I mean, if you think about the whole e-commerce, if you think about everything you buy in a store today, it's all obviously dependent on logistics somehow. So the market is huge. All in Europe is about 300 billion euros, focusing on what basically broken down in three major areas. One is courier and parcel, which is basically your day-to-day parcel shipping. Deutsche Post, DHL, Grubitsch, and LTL is sending single pallets. And what we mostly focus on the full truck load segment, around 100 billion euros in Europe alone. So where is Sender as of today? We are 7 people full-time, 3 interns. Launched 8 months ago in August, grew pretty heavily since then for a B2B company, around 50% per month. Won some amazing clients, Amazon, Zalando, Notebooks Billiger, just to name a few. Have a very high recurring business, so so far we haven't lost one customer, so let's hope that stays like that, which I think is we're quite proud of and at this early stage. And yeah, and we're obviously, there's still a lot of room to grow. So growing with new clients, growing with our existing clients as well, which is the beauty of this business, that you need only a few clients to really do a lot of revenues. And yeah, targeting different markets and targeting different geographical markets. So that's about Sender. Thanks a lot for your time. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free.
You're going through a lot of complex matter in 5 minutes. That's a tough thing to do. I think similar to the presentation before, we would have benefited from a view that compares the old world and the new world. So giving us, Paul the truck driver being, sent around many times and seeing 20 middlemen and crossing them out visually, that does. If I get this as a pitch on my desk, I'm really impressed because it has all the features that I look for and has I looked at the footnotes. You did your homework. It's beautifully explained. But as a pitch here and as part of this small, you have a very limited time frame here and airtime. You lost me on the first slides. You got my attention back when you said who you won as customers in very little time. Some big brand names. I don't know how you did that, and you knew somebody from before, but that is clearly a sign you have traction. That impresses people. So maybe in the beginning, to excite people, it would help a lot. Not to explain the detailed mechanics about API, and that's the how I do things, but rather, what makes you so much better compared to the things that have been done in the past, and how is it going to look like in the future, and then basically looking forward, how do you differentiate from everybody else in the logistics world? That would help a great deal. Other than that, I thought the slides make a very orderly and well thought through impression. So do you, but given the density of content that you tried to convey, you lost me in the beginning a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say exactly the same thing but different words. You're a good pitcher, you don't have to be all energetic and all la. You're just going through the slides and it's great, but you definitely lost me on the first thing. I don't want to understand those things. Who understood anything, really? Okay, so and I just said anything. It was
anything enough to be something, or
who understood the basic of what is building. Yeah, it's still I'm just trying to put the less friction as possible so that people can raise their hands. It's it's a truck moving from point A to point B and having less friction to do so and to put your stuff in this truck. That's it. It's supposed to be really simple. The point here is that it's a complex business. You need to have complexity inside your mind. But even if you pitch an investor or a user, which is difficult to have here, you need to be so good that you're gonna transform this complexity into evidence, into like obviousness. And this exercise is really important, because when you pitch even an investor and you're gonna talk about your competitors, or you're gonna talk about your market, or he's not gonna look for infos too much, he's gonna know what your business is, he's gonna do his homework hopefully as well, but he wants that you show that you have the possibility to get deep insights for your growth, for your go-to-market, for your customer, for your niche, for whatever. That's what we want to see. And those deep insight, they come with pure clarity of vision. And that's more the thing. I'm sure you're intelligent. I'm sure your business is well run. But now I want that you do all the homework for me, and I want the gold nuggets. That's the kind of thing I want. And this exercise is quite different than to be really, really thoughtful and to be really precise on anything. But then again, like this market is super booming. There's we have a portfolio company at the family in France. They just raised like a 6 million Series A round. Everybody is just like eating this market. And this is maybe what you should talk a little bit about, with this new world, old world. This is just so juicy. This is so exciting that here's what I'm doing it, and when we started and stuff like that. But otherwise, I think that I think that we might talk a little bit later, and that a lot of people are gonna want to talk to you as well.
Yeah. It's definitely a hot market. I mean, you see it in the number of startups working there at the moment.
I'm not going to repeat what they've said. I'll just add on this last comment. I'm seeing this kind of companies cropping fucking everywhere. So there's one in Spain, there's one in France. I saw recently 2 in Middle East. Then there is Uber for trucks. Okay? And so the one point, I love this space. I love the logistic. Even though I do agree it was a complicated way of explaining it, I think you can make it much more fun and simple. I love the numbers, but in my head, I was thinking, you're one of many doing this. I would have started with the numbers, which are actually pretty impressive. So boom, we have 70% recurring business, 49% monthly growth. That's validation. It's boom. Okay, and now we're going to European expansion. So my question would be here, it's how are you going to be different from all these other people that are cropping and taking the local markets? I'm actually a little bit afraid, and I didn't hear it on your pitch. It's you're doing something that's very smart, which is integrating with the ERPs, but it also takes a long time to do that shit. So how fast are you capable of expanding and scaling while doing that? So for me, that was it's kind of a key question, especially for any investor, because it's going to give you the speed at which you're going to acquire new customers and the speed at which you're going to be able to penetrate markets and basically unbank the local competitor there. So I was kind of missing that part of what's your teeth? Where are your teeth here when you're going to go international?
No, I think that there's definitely a lot of details that I would mention usually in an investor presentation. So that's to fact. Onboarding is definitely, I would say, a small drawback if you compare to OnTruck in Spain or so, that really try to build this Uber-like on the instant booking process. But I think this one gives us really the recurring business as well, and a bit the barriers to enter in some ways, that it takes us a week or two to really onboard customers in order to really make all the APIs working.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a powerful thing and a drawback. So I would have liked to hear that this allows us to compete much better. It takes a little longer, but it protects you much better from market competitors. So cool. Very, very nice, actually.
Thanks. Any questions for the freight and truck driving thing? It's difficult to...
You really understood it well.
He just wants to say Uber for trucks.
No, but actually that's fun because a lot of those companies in Europe, they're all talking to Uber acquisition head. He's seeing all of them, and then he will buy the best European companies. I know that for a fact. And it's funny because they never want to say that Uber for I'm gonna get acquired. But no, thanks very much. Big round of applause as well. One question.
Just comes to my mind, what about blockchain technology? Is it a thing you can think about blockchain technology as an integration?
At this stage, no, we haven't, to be honest. We're still a small team. I think blockchain has definitely a lot of potential, that in multiple ways actually that we could use them, but we haven't really looked into it in detail. Just super high level. Yes, it could definitely be an option. Mm-hmm.
All right, round of applause.
Thanks a lot.
Didn't get the.
Hi, I'm Christian. I'm CEO of Six Voices. I would like to talk a little bit about our product we are working on, which is really exciting, which is a virtual assistant for meetings. Oh, meetings. Sounds like amazing. But I would like to share with you one thing which excites me. And I'm in product and technology for more than 18 years now. I'm building products and I'm trying to make what I'm building that people actually can use it and can understand it. And I'm telling you, it's a really hard thing to create a user interface which people actually can use. And it's the first time in the history, actually, that not us humans, we need to learn machines and interfaces, how they work, but thanks to voice, it's the first time that actually machines need to learn to understand us. And this is what excites me. And we are tapping this voice first. Now we are in Germany. Voice first is new and just arrived thanks to Amazon Echo or other devices here. But it's actually already mainstream, which means that alone in the US, Amazon Echo was sold 9 million times by the end of last year. By the end of this year, 50% of the Amazon Prime users, which is their subscription, will have a voice-first device at home. Not talking about that Google just launched Google Home, Apple is to be launched something. But there are also the voice assistants like Siri, which has 2 billion commands, voice commands per week. So this is mainstream. And what we want to do is we want to bring this voice first to the office space. Because we are all using it at home, it's just a question of time until we start using voice as interface at work. So that first problem we are currently addressing is meetings. So who of you guys has ever been bored in a meeting? Just raise your hand. Okay. Is there somebody who loves meetings? Oh, we have 3 people. Congratulations. I guess you make something very special there. Meetings are often quite boring. And I still remember one of my former bosses and CTO actually, down the road, he was doing an Ironman, and always when he had his weekly status updates with us, because he did all his sport, the first thing after making the introduction, he fell asleep. So it was a great meeting for us. We literally could have left, but he was there still. So it's a still unsolved problem, and there are a lot of meetings every day. There are 10 million meetings just in the US every day, and if you talk to people, actually 50% of them are unproductive. So this is the big problem we want to address and solve. And how we are doing this, we are working currently on Mia, a voice-first assistant actually for meetings. And she's here to help you before, during, and after the meetings. So how does she do that? Very easily, you can have her with you in the meeting, either as a device on the meeting table or on your mobile phone, or dialed in via a conference system, and you can dictate her notes or tasks. You can also then logically share and collaborate on those kind of meeting minutes easily. So everything is always documented, not just in a proper way, but you can also make sure it's very easy to follow up. But one of the other issues is you have already your emails searchable and archived properly, so you can see what was actually done. We make also the meetings actually searchable by allowing you to search in your audio recordings, by allowing you to search in all the meeting notes. And at the end of the meeting, you will collect feedback automatically. So the key thing is that you really improve the meetings. It's like you're doing your sport, you're running, or you want to know where you are, how good are you doing. We think that's also relevant actually at work. So we are creating this, and we have a first test users now already who are working with it, and we have some great feedback from them. So we have here Greg, a salesperson, who said it's a really great tool for salespeople to capture all the meetings. We have a business developer to interacting with Mia. It's like chatting with a friend, and another CTO of a startup, 12 Grapes. This is so cool. That's really a quote. I need to have this. So who is behind MIA? And that's us, the team, which is 3 founders currently. I myself have a background in product technology, worked at N26, I worked at BWin, also for the World Food Program, and I had the opportunity to develop some great products. And then we have Rovanto, the back-end developer, CTO, who is one of the best back-end developer I know, and I worked together already with him at 2 companies, and he joined me for this next adventure. And then we have somebody also who is really good in marketing and sales, who is Till. And yes, Rovanto's last name is also Rovanto, which makes him special. So we really want to get rid of bad meetings, and yeah, we are working on Mia, your voice-first assistant for meetings. Thank you very much.
All right. The great pitch, a little bit, I'm not going to say a lot of things, but a little bit too long on the problem. It's like, okay, voice is big, and we're building like Google Echo for meetings. And then because now I want to know more about what you're doing, for sure we have 5 minutes to talk about it, and maybe you know about that, and that's why you can spend so much time on the problems. But I'm still frustrated as a user, or as any people that listen to this. I want to see how it could work. I almost want to see a case. I almost want to see some use case, just really screens, or because you cannot screenshot that thing, but maybe reproductions or something, because this is big. This is mostly not understood by the people. How we can integrate this, what we know right now as Siri, Alexa, or Google Voice, into different use case. And most of all, we want to know, and I want to know, that's more a question, how is that a special device? How it's not just an app on Alexa, or just an app on Google Voice, or just an app on an iPhone with, that just I put there and it's gonna speak to me with, whatever Bluetooth speakers, So that's maybe the space where I want a little bit more crunchy things.
So I would love to show a demo, but I'm not unfortunately allowed to show a demo. If my video would be great. But I promise to show next time more pictures of how it actually is being used. And what I think makes it really unique is the first time that we actually can talk to an assistant also during meetings, which wasn't possible so far. And I mentioned quickly, it's just another app, which is a voice-first app, but it's also available so that Mia can dial into your conference system, or actually using your hardware, which we also want to work on, that you can just have an assistant in every meeting room by default.
Thanks. I'd love to get a demo and understand a bit more. The reason I once had to smile a little bit when you showed your slides around testimonials. It's somewhat, I get you want to make a point that it's it's a useful product, but this lady saying it's like talking to a friend. I wonder what kind of friends she has, because clearly that cannot be it won't pass the Turing test, which states that when you've reached general AI, once you have a device that talks to you like it were a human being. We're not there yet, and Amazon is not there yet. So I don't want to downplay what you're doing, but probably you're not there yet either. Although aiming to get there is a very worthy cause, and I think you've displayed in your career that you've been in many places where there's cutting edge technology built, and you've been part of that. So I take that as a testament that you can get there. But I would maybe another comment, a formal comment on your market or on your problem analysis around saying that there's 10 million meetings in the US and 40% are unproductive use. Saying on stage is 50%. It just leaves a little bit of a, we want to see consistency. Leaving away the numbers and saying there's a lot of meetings in the world, we will have believed you, but you leave a little bit of a scratch in your story if what you say and what's on your slide is not the same, A, and B, it's not very well proven because it's more anecdotal evidence of talking to people. So I prefer precise data with footnotes, and then I know this is actually real and I can look it up somewhere, even though nobody ever does. Or I want a vague, visionary statement, and I'm fine, it's visionary, and then we're fine with that. Yeah. So, but the in between is where I have a little bit of a personal problem with. Other than that, I would love to understand a little bit about security. topics around in the business context around people already may overcome the fact that Alexa is listening to their groceries list, but do they overcome discussion content of a sensitive meeting, or this thing sitting there when I'm ridiculing my coworker for looking silly the day after their bachelor night? I don't know. That's a sensitive content, business context that you don't want to have shared with an electronic device, and I think that could have been part of your presentation, but clearly it's only 5 minutes.
Okay, so quick, just talking about the security questions, because especially in Germany, I get this question quite a lot. It's really interesting that so many corporates already are using Google Documents and putting their meeting notes actually. So all the data is already in the cloud for corporates. Obviously, what we are doing is also we are integrating with G Suite, and we'll integrate later down the road with Office 365. So we are addressing also only companies at the beginning who are already cloud aware, and we are not yet on premise. Yeah, this could be one of the opportunities later down the road, but that's definitely a different play, so to say.
First of all, me once, okay? Well, when can I buy this shit? Really. Speaking, focusing more on the pitch part, there was a moment where you kind of lost track a little bit, and you were asking who likes meeting, blah blah blah, and you kind of lost track, got us distracted, then it took you a while to come back. So try to keep on the flow. It was a very good pitch, it was a very good question, but just try not to take too many detours towards there, because you want to keep the flow going. As Hugo said, even if you have 5 minutes, you could have made this pitch in 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes, and just boom, boom, boom. You have the numbers, you have the technology, you have the team. Boom, boom, boom. It just feels good. I'm like Mark, one of the guys that actually goes and look at the numbers and the stats. Was actually who was pitching with the Eurostat numbers. I think it was you. Yeah, I was like, Eurostat, I'm going to check that one out. So I do also see that stuff, and I agree with Mark in a way that, I think it was enough to say yes, anecdotal thing that there's a lot of meetings, and actually the question was very good. It's it hurts. It hurts, okay? In a way, I normally don't tell people to use video when they do pitching, because it normally substitutes your way of pitching and what you're saying. But this is one very good example where having a small clip would make a big difference. Because I understand, I know the space. For me, it was fuck yeah. But if you don't know the space, you might not have a good idea of how it works and how I would interact. Actually, your security question was probably related to that. To what degree is the device always listening and recording? Or because then you refer to, when you answer, you refer to, people already have the notes in the cloud. But what he was asking is yeah, but that shit is recording all the time, so everything is on the cloud. While as to when I take the notes, I'm the one deciding what goes on the cloud. You see, so but I think that kind of misunderstanding or misalignment is more because you don't see how it works, so you cannot really refer to that stuff. But then again, I understand that you cannot share it so far, so. But it was good. I mean, I like it. There's still some things to polish there, but it was really nice.
Thank you very much. So just one sentence to the data. I'm sorry for getting that wrong. It's in the US 40% and it's in Europe 50%. And unfortunately, I did now get it wrong. Yeah. The second thing is we're just submitting the test version to the App Store. So that everybody can test it. There will be a waiting list nonetheless, because we are also trying to learn.
Me once, please. Who wants to try this stuff?
Please, can you raise your hand who is interested?
Yeah.
Oh,
please.
That's great. Thank you very much. Yeah. So we will maybe put this on the link to the App Store. There's also the video. You can watch it before. Yeah, but thank you very much.
I think you're pitching in 2 days at the machine learning thing, right?
On Friday.
It's on Thursday, no? I think it's on Thursday. It's definitely on Thursday. Yeah. So, the day after tomorrow, I think, there's and you're going to do live demo over there, no?
Potentially.
Potentially. Well, you're definitely going to do demo. Well, thank you very much. Big round of applause.
Thank you.
Hi, My name is Philip from Open Kitchen, and we are doing Airbnb for food. So the business model is straightforward. But before we start, one question: who of you likes homemade meals? Please raise your hand if you like fresh, delicious, healthy homemade meals. Oh, okay, that was easy. Thank you very much. It's like almost 100%, and it's a huge market, as you can think, like 500 million people in Europe. So why can't we buy fresh homemade meals without cooking?
Stop, I'm getting hungry.
Okay. Like Open Kitchen has a solution, because we connect these two people. On the left side, these are home chefs who really love to cook, and they prepare the most delicious meals ever. And we, Open Kitchen, are going to find them for you. So you just sign up. If you're like on the left, from the right side, and you don't have time to cook or you don't like to cook, you just order a meal next door at your neighbors or at a cooking enthusiast who really is a very good chef. So we take a commission on that, and so everybody is happy. How does it work? Basically, you use the app, choose your meal in your neighborhood from a great chef, order and pay within the app, and pick the meal up next door, and you enjoy it. So why should you use Open Kitchen? Because it tastes much more delicious than basically anything else. The quality is much higher, and you save a lot of time, like 1 hour per day. It's like 365 hours per year, 2 months that you could save. And on top of that, it's very affordable. So it's like half the price of a restaurant. So you can afford it like every day. And for 2 people, it's like 12 euros. So it's 6 euros per person, which is like half the price of a restaurant. On top, together, we can save a lot of food waste and a lot of energy, because one person is cooking, let's say, for 10, instead of like 10 people are cooking for one person only. And in addition to that, you can meet your neighborhood and help others. Exactly. Then we have a small team here, great people. And the question is, can you earn some money with this kind of business model? And we think yes, because it's sharing economy, and some other startups did prove that sharing economy can be very valuable. So Airbnb has the biggest and largest hotel chain in the world, and you were the largest taxi chain without owning an own taxi. And we try to do something similar within the food space. And the good thing here is that like everybody has to eat every day. You don't need like a hotel only once or twice a year, or just a few cabs up per year, but everybody has to eat every day. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, how long was it, Lou?
It's 2 minutes short.
It's 2 minutes short. And you sent me your pitch 2 hours after the others. Fuck, what did you do during this time? You should have put the time more, you should have like used that time. Because there's a few things that I'm gonna be hard on this one. Because I love the problem. I love the problem, and I love the market. So I want that the people get it right for sure. So you don't understand your business. The business is not, you put like 3 things: taste, quality, and time. It's not about that. Like, people don't care about like either the quality of the food. They want great food for sure, and nobody wants bad food. Like, nobody says like, oh, we have bad food. It's like, or we don't have great food. Everybody says great food. Even McDonald's now, they saying like, hey, we have great hamburgers like by meat in France. They do actually say that. The only problem, it's not even a problem. The only point on this, it's to meet people. It's to meet neighbors, but not just to meet them. It's to have those relationships. The people that want those experiences, they don't care about if it's fast. They don't care if it's good. They just have Foodora and all other things like that. They want to meet people. So first, your pitch, your wording, your photos, your all the things, it should be only about the people. You should not even care too much about the food, but only about this community of great people that you can meet 15 minutes walking like in your neighborhood. That's the first thing. Second thing, like when you open up the pitch, and when you say like, who likes homemade cook, again, it's not the prime. But second, it's not, when you do this opening, you should link to the problem. Like, it was just, if you say like, who has a nose, like for sure everybody's gonna raise the hand. It's like those things doesn't create a lot of value on the pitch opening. Then, like you said, sharing economy equals money, basically, right? Like, I think when you share that, like, it's more for the investors, even if it's a user pitch, but fair enough, like, for sure, we want to understand how you're going to sustain this, this company. Like, I think people want to, run away now when they hear that, because it's like, sharing economy equals super, super high acquisition cost, and therefore, like, that you will need, when you're super big and super far away, to have, like, a decrease in marginal cost. So it's not, like, easy equation now. So you should really, really get rid of those examples. And we want to understand, if you talk about this, if you don't, it's okay, I don't mind. But if you talk about this, you need to have us understand the basic economics of your business. Like, just to have a sense that you know what you're doing, because at some point, if you talk about that, it means that you want us to know that. So don't say, hey, Uber make money, Airbnb make money, so we're going to make money. No. Say like, okay, when we spend $1 on acquisition, then we get whatever X dollar, not on one time, but with the LTV of whatever. So that's the kind of things that will make you look for the user, for the investor, for the potential partners, consistent, full of those, insights that no one can get, and therefore full of those, competitive advantage, because this market is so tough, like feeding people. It's so tough and so ravaged by so many $1 billion by Foodora and by, other competitors, that you cannot let yourself be not 100% sharp on this. And so I love, I'm being sharp and I'm being strong because I love the market, because I love the fact that you're doing something about it. And I really, really want to see people like you more and at their top level for anything, pitching, fundraising, expanding, growing, everything. So I want to try it out. So you're going to send me the link with like a coupon, so I pay less money. And I will give you even more feedback when I will try it out, like in the kitchen of someone else. But yeah, thank you for the pitch. I love it anyway.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna add anything more. I mean, I've seen so many of this in this field. Then again, he's French. He likes his food. Okay, so this is a kind of project that works very well in certain cities and doesn't work at all in other places. It's very culture dependent in many ways. And probably the hardest part, and I do agree with Hugo in a way, is like, pitch-wise, too many pictures of food. You were making us hungry, and there was too many. Okay, but honestly, the key in this business is how the fuck are you gonna get the neighbors, and how the fuck are you gonna get people to use it and buy it. And that's a key point, because it's very hard. It's a very fragmented market. It requires a lot of investment in marketing, a lot of investment of actually walking the street and getting those people. And this is why most of these projects actually die in most cases, because doing that is fucking hard. We're nerds. We would rather be with our computer than actually going around and walking. So, and I'm not doubting this. What I want you to understand is that for me, and probably for Mark, I think he's going to agree, what we would have loved to seen is your strategies. How the fuck are you gonna grow this? Because it's very hard. It's culture dependent. You need a critical mass to make this work, and there's a lot of competitors doing this. So, kind of for me, the critical questions here weren't really shown. I mean, this business is very well known. I think if I ask all of you, you've seen similar things around, right? Because actually the problem is pretty well known. So you could kind of skip a little bit more of how much emphasis you placed on that, and a little bit more on the business side, which is the key point here, especially in this kind of verticals.
So sitting here is a lot easier than standing on stage and defending. So I'm going to ask you something that allows you maybe to put some emphasis on what you've accomplished, as opposed to what a 3-minute pitch that was 2 minutes so short and could have addressed logistics and scaling and go-to-market strategy didn't say. Do you have customers, and what about traction? That's all I care about.
We took it out because it used to be a user's pitch instead of an investor's pitch, but I can send you the pitch deck, and you can find the customer acquisition costs, the customer lifetime value, the go-to-market strategy, and everything in the real pitch. We have it, and we were able to acquire like 3% of all households in our test market at customer acquisition costs, which I will tell you offline in a minute. So very, very cheap. And also very, very scalable in like we tested 10 different marketing channels and tracked all of them. And that's why we are confident with our go-to-market strategy.
Yeah, so without having to go into specifics, which is confidential information that you may not want to be sharing at this moment in time, especially when it's broadcasted to the entire internet community, you could have pointed to the fact that you have it, and it would have been a very strong statement. You know, would have made a very strong argument to me as an investor, to my fellow judges here, or pitch doctors, or what are we? Anyway, so I think that would have been I've seen you pitching before at a different event. Do less pitching at big events and try to get to people who, you know, either customers or investors to bring you forward. I think these things are useful, and I don't want to distract you, and I don't want to but don't do too much of that. Don't go to too many conferences. Be out there and try and optimize unit economics, go-to-market strategy, how to acquire customers, how to get critical mass, get partnerships with firms like Nebenan. It's an investment of ours, which is basically promoting neighborhood, and it's a social network, a hyper-local social network. Would love this. I'm happy to put you in touch. But I basically did a sanity check when you were presenting this once, and I said, yeah, this has been around for quite a bit, and nobody has really cracked it. And my understanding of logistics around food, even what Foodora is doing with their little boxes, it's complex. Getting food from A to B without it getting cold, but still with high quality. Your lasagna won't look like that by the time it gets to my kitchen. So I'm a little bit doubtful that that's so easy as you always say. But we're going to have this potentially again this conversation, and at some point maybe you may be able to convince me. But the logistics of this are terribly hard, and acquisition cost may kill you unless you have the ability to fundraise like a Deliveroo, Foodora, Delivery Hero, you name it.
I would just add like a final comment for everyone, because I see this a lot. So sometimes when you do pitching, like everyone sticks to the same template, but your companies are not the same. So there's some industries where the problem is very well known and it's shared by everyone, but then the business model and the scaling the model is very complicated. So you need to understand sometimes where you are in those kind of industries, because of the comment you said like, we had this but we took it out because this was more like less investor pitch. I think you made a mistake there. So there's like some pitches where that is the critical point, because the problem is very well known. In other cases, some of you guys have problems where are pretty complex. Your case, for example, where maybe you need to put a little bit more emphasis on the problem side, or maybe the logistics or the competitor side because of your specific industry. So a lot of the times the people that are here, the investors that you're going to pitch to, the audiences you're going to pitch to, most of them have seen similar things. So it's good to understand where do you stand, and just not just say, oh, because this is a regular pitch, I'll take this out. But actually understand that for each project, you might need to shift it and put more emphasis because of your industry and because of how people know that market. That's for everyone. I mean, it's not just for you. It's like for actually everyone. So don't try to stick to the template, but actually understand what's the key point for you.
And so who is ready to try it out with me? Okay, well, that's good. You're live in Berlin? Are you live in?
Not yet.
Shit.
You don't ship from Madrid to Berlin?
No, but this I really want to try it out, and like if people are like you're gonna maybe send us a link where it's gonna be live. Like we can actually push the launch through the meetup when it's live to the people that are here, because they will know, and we're really happy to try it out, because it's actually it's not a business of commodity, it's a business of community. Punto. Like it's really that. So really want to try it out. And huge round of applause, because
Thank you.
It's gonna feel
I'm Eduardo. I came into Berlin 9 months in September, actually. And for the first 4 months, me and Antonio, we tried to do one thing, partner with a bank to do a fintech startup. And after 4 months, we realized one thing, German banks sucks. They suck. This is because they are 30 years ahead. They don't understand startups. They don't understand fintech. And sometimes they don't even reply. The other discovery that we actually made was that this field called personal finance is 40 years old and it's static and passive. So it doesn't engage with you, it doesn't teach you anything, it doesn't help you. All these banks, they just put like a nice pie chart or a nice graph and they say, oh, that's personal finance. Cool. What we think is that we're at a point where technology can actually democratize this process. So we're at a point where in the past, every rich person in the room would have a guy who would handle his personal finance. But we think that technology can actually change this. And actually we can have the technology to have everyone's personal finance assistant. And so we started building Kiria, which is an iOS, Apple Watch, iPhone app, which gives you control to manage, advise, and secure your money. We've started with some simple features like categorizations. So we support 40 categories. You can connect as many banks as you want. We support 4,000 banks in Germany. And this is done automatically. And you can actually have a look at how you spend and see your spending patterns. But think about something even smarter. Think about having a weekly notification that tells you how much you spent the previous week, or knowing when your salary comes in, or even knowing when your balance is low and getting notified, or knowing when that 25 euros Amazon refund is in. And what about doing even something even more and trying to do subscriptions? And so you can open Kiria and know all your subscriptions, and you can decide if you want to cancel them or even sign up to another service. What about fraud detection? So if you've got some weird transactions in your bank account and you are not aware of it, but your finance assistant is there to help you. What about spending patterns? So you're spending too much in coffee, just stop drinking coffee and switch to water. And what about incoming bills to pay? So everything that is around your personal finance in one single place that supports every single bank. So this is what Kiria is. Kiria is a smart tech layer that operates on every bank. We started from Germany and we support 4,000 banks in Germany, including credit cards. How do we make money? And this is a question we get asked a lot. We don't have any short-term revenue plan. But we think that these 4 main topics will be really helpful. So contract switchings, switching your subscriptions, switching your credit cards, savings options. We're able to recognize if you've got like a saving account. What if Kiria at the end of the month tells you, do you want to put these 50 euros in your saving account, which you already have? So we don't even have to force you to open another bank account. So there are a lot of services out there that actually do this. They open you a savings account. What about credit? Do you want that 80 euros this day for your payday loan because you're struggling? What about investing? And so we've just launched, we're a month old. We've got 44% of our weekly active users, so they are weekly. We've got 744 bank connects, and we do have 1.2 bank connections per user. What does that mean? It means that each user has connected 1.2 banks. So we have users that connect even like 3-4 banks into the app. This is our competitions. Most of the services were, as I said, passive and static. So they belong to the past. What we want to do is we want to build something that is actually engaging with you and it's dynamic. And what I mean by dynamic is that it auto-generates itself on you. So we start with some like pretty simple online banking features, but the way we think a personal finance app is in the future is something that you open up and it's different according to every single person. So we generate content based on who you are, what you need, and what you can do. So if we already know that you're not able to invest, why would I want to show you an investing option? If I already know that you are the ones that want to save, why do I have to show you something else when I can actually show you that? So right now it's just me and Antonio. We both have a computer science background. Antonio's work at Google and CERN. I work at Manchester-based company. I've got a Master of Engineering in Computer Science. He's got a Bachelor. And this is Kiria. We're available on the... I finished.
There's a lot of these things cropping up right now.
Name me three.
Huh?
Name me three.
So I'll name you actually two. So we were involved in the first Deutsche Bank hackathon, and there was at least 2 or 3 teams building this that took into Deutsche Bank's digital strategy. So there's actually, the banks are moving in that space. I won't say they're moving fast though, but they're moving. So I love the idea. I've seen a couple of this across the spectrum, maybe too early stage, so no one really like having a big market chunk there. I'm impressed that you integrated so many banks, actually. That's pretty cool. Kind of, you said like 40% of our users are engaged out of how many? That's kind of the... I know you took it out because of whatever, but anyway, I mean, it's... I've seen a bunch of this, maybe not in messaging app or I've seen AI chatbots doing similar things, maybe also versions in apps. So there's a lot of movement here. So I'm still like not convinced through your pitch that you're gonna be like the survivor of that. So I was kind of waiting for you to deliver like the final like, and this is why. I mean, your argument at the end was like, we're more active than others because we're doing the chat thing, but it's actually everyone's moving towards that space. And
I've never mentioned a chat thing.
No, I mean the interaction part, like the interaction part where you're getting engaged, but everyone's kind of moving into that space. Everyone's applying NLP stuff. Some people are kind of skipping that stuff, directly going into voice only. So it's like, that's just like the way the technology trend is going, and not that much something that might really protect you in a near future. So kind of that was waiting for that to come at some point in the pitch.
A couple of thoughts. So the acquisition of customers in this space is quite expensive. So I would have loved to learn about your acquisition strategy. There's banks like Number 26, obviously, that don't appear on your chart, that have precisely the same strategy, but offer a vertically integrated platform and can offer own products, which will buy into their profitability, which you've dismissed as not even of interest to you, saying that revenue wasn't something on the short term that you'd consider. Interesting statement. You can do that if you're Facebook or WhatsApp. It's tough in this space because you're going to need to show profitable unit economics, otherwise nobody will finance this. Second observation, banks, I mean, like them or not, they have a tremendous user base and brand, which you don't. So they may be able to suck for a little longer until they figured it out, and a lot of them do right now. So because they don't reply to you, or they're not ready for cooperation, doesn't mean that they won't figure it out along the way. And some of them don't have to, because there's new players like Number 26 or various challenger banks that build very much better products and integrate just the same way through APIs like Figo, which I assume you're using to get all these 4,000 connections. Is that right?
I'm using the competitor.
You're using the competitor. So I can start fresh tomorrow integrating 4,000 banks. I mean, the tech you're building, I'm sure, is cutting edge. You have the right education for it. So I don't want to downplay that either. It's just Wirecard enables me to issue a new credit card tomorrow. Figo and competitors allow me to connect. I mean, this is all based on the EU regulation around free SEPA and the what is it called, Capital Markets Union and all that stuff. So that's going to be a standard. So what really differentiates you in the future is the product and the design and the ability to acquire customers.
And that's why I'm saying there is no short-term plan for revenue, because the focus is in building a product that users love and they can actually engage with and use it. And then we think about making money, because if today I think about making money, I lose the main point, which is something that people love and use. If they don't use it, I don't make money.
Right. At the same time, you need a plan, right?
Yeah.
You need
Of course.
Well, I saw your different verticals that may in the future result in some sort of revenue, but that's a lot of people argue that way, and not all of them are going to get financed. So in order for you to acquire, the beauty of your product wasn't clearly visible to me. There was a lot of use cases stated that I get, but I also see others offering those. So maybe a few more screenshots or the beauty of your UX would have helped me at least to understand further how your product is so much differentiated versus the other competitors, including the incumbents.
Okay, I love it. I'm going to start like that. I think that Italians are really great pitchers the time, because it was clear, more than everything, like it's super early, like how many users do you get? Because you don't want to say it, but I'm going to ask.
Oh yeah, it's like under 50 users.
150, so it's nothing. So it's super early. So the only thing that I can, look at, it's how you get this kind of like clear vision right now, because it's simple. It's there. Like maybe you're gonna succeed, maybe you're not gonna succeed, but you give us a sense of you know what you have to do, kind of, you don't know how you are going to succeed right now. You don't have like those insights, but you know that where to look for. So I feel that from a user right now. I am sure I would feel that if I was in another context and I could bet on you guys. The only thing couple of things that I found weird is like you said that we don't do charts and stuff like that, blah blah. Every bank thing like do charts, and the first thing that you show us from the app is a chart. Like fuck, like come on, don't even show us that. Just show us the chat, or just show like the interactions, like the quartz, like fun interaction. I think that a lot of people are trying to move that towards that space. I think a super lot of people are clumsy doing that, and they just think checklist. Okay, we're gonna do like chat, we're gonna do like smileys, we're gonna do stuff. I think that you guys have a shot by being so obsessed with that thing, user focus, being user-centric, that you can find at some point in the last 6 months like a great retention. And I think the only thing you can do right now to raise money if you need, because you're not gonna make money right now, is to have traction. And for me, traction is not gonna be like a lot of people downloading this thing. For me, traction is like you have one metric in your industry, in the average of the industry, that is clearly above the average. It's that traction. It's not to have a lot of downloads. It's to have one metric that is referenced in your industry that you're way above. So for you, for sure, it's going to be retention or a thing. Find that sweet spot where you can look and go to investors and just like put one slide and say, hey, we have 40 retention, weekly retention since 6 months. I would just pour my money at you if you show me that. And this is going to be by only amazing, crazy two guys focusing on the product so much and not the user so much that at some point you're going to find one of those things. Second thing that I didn't like on the presentation was like, can you come back on like the market thing? Yeah. No. Yeah, this is like, I see 100%, like 99% of people, when they show me a graph like that, they put themselves on the top right corner. Come on. Like, who is going to put, you for sure everybody's going to put themselves on the right corner. You don't do that because, and often people do, even the worst thing is that they put them on the top right corner and then they put Facebook or Google or Apple on another corner, Like, you don't do that. Like, you are nothing right now. Right now, you are better than nothing. Or you're maybe cooler. Like you're cool, but you're better than nothing. The only thing that you can, like the only value you can create with that kind of graph is that you can show us that you understand your competitive landscape, and that you organize your competitive landscape in different parts and you situate yourself, not better, not worse, but just here.
I would argue that probably banks are missing here, and I've just put like wallets and personal finance assistants, and that's why this graph looks a bit like this.
But don't put
empty.
better or worse, like static, passive, active.
No,
dynamic,
but that was the whole point I was trying to make in the whole presentation. So I started the presentation by saying passive and static, and the way I wanted to finish it was by saying active and dynamic.
Yeah.
And dynamic means generate content, and there is a reason why there is a pie chart there. It's because you need a way to start, which is you do a lot of online banking features, you get data, you understand things, you understand how refunds, subscriptions, all these things works, and then you slightly change the product, and you make it in a way where it can adapt to everyone else. And the way we see the product in the next 30 days, I'm not talking about 6 months, it's just like a newsfeed with cards, and each card represents something, and it's completely.
But like, who in the world is like, who is in the world is gonna say my app is static or passive? No one, you know. So like, you're clearly saying like we're better and we're better. Like, but this is not what I mean. Is that this creates zero value, because you can talk about that, and even you can. I think even if you're super successful, you shouldn't be like that. The thing that you should put there is like a way to teach us something about the market, to teach us how you understand clearly what you're against. And this is a good information, not so I can learn something from that, but so I can learn that you know. I can learn that it's really clear for you. From a user perspective, from your investor perspective, from whatever partner perspective, I want to feel that. You know, nobody's gonna remember what you say. Everybody will remember what we feel like. And right now I feel like, okay, this guy's a fraud. Well, you know, this guy is like trying to.
I'm Italian. So.
Come on.
When we started, I love it.
I love it.
No, but the other thing that I probably didn't add when I say static and passive, I mean that you get shown some data and then you need a way to figure it out. So any solutions out there, or most of them, they don't help you, because people don't want to understand what they look at. They just want to get what that means. So I look at a graph and then I need to figure out, oh, maybe it's 15 coffee and I need to sign it somewhere.
Okay.
You need to find a way where it's the actual software that teaches something instead of like showing. Everyone is good at displaying, but maybe you display but don't understand.
If in order to like look at the buffer seed pitch deck.
Yeah, this is taken from the Airbnb, so you can have a look.
Yeah, but like just like, you know, you cannot compare like those kind of things. Like, just look at them. The way it's an example. You know, it could be other example. They just put like, you know, like clouds of the competitors, and they just put themselves in different parts. So it's like kind of counterintuitive in the way that we used to have this graph. And otherwise, like I use it, and
do you?
No, yeah, I do, but like it's not me, that it's on the account. But anyway, and one thing that I want to understand is like how is the trend on bank accounts? Like, do you feel that people are always going to have more and more every day, like 2 or 3 bank accounts, or everybody's going to centralize on one, and therefore like they're going to use their bank apps or something else?
Regarding our space, I don't care where they put the money, so the bank. I'm pretty sure that in the next 40 years, people will put money somewhere, and then banks will stay. The need that I see is someone that actually handles those money, and I don't think that wealth manager needs to be the bank.
Okay. Yeah, but
so banks are not gonna die. People are gonna switch. There are some new banks like N26. But even those banks are not going to win the whole market. We're talking about institutions that have been 800 years old.
No, I'm talking like, do people are going to open like you know, few banks account and have money on different banks, and therefore like will have great value in your app, like summing everything up? Or like the trend is more like people are just getting in one bank and that's it? Yeah,
but even if they get into one bank, the value that we want to add is into actually manage the money.
For sure.
So it doesn't really matter how many banks you have. Multi-bank is a feature that every app here has got. So it's not like the key value point.
All right. Okay, big round of applause. And now we're going to the best part of the time. I am going to ask every pitcher to come on stage with me. You're gonna decide who's winning because we cannot, we're conflicted. But you're gonna do that by doing really one simple thing. You're gonna make some noise. You're gonna burn this place down, and you're gonna basically cheer for the people you love the most. So if you like the thing but not too much, you still applause. We don't want any silence. But if you love the one of those people, you just scream and bang everything up. And so I'm gonna start with Sticky. And so Sticky is gonna tell just one sentence of what he does, and then we clap.
Sticky is a wiki that works. Thanks.
One sentence. We make your life easier in terms of personal finance.
Senna is a B2B logistics software aiming to become the whole outsourcing provider for road freight logistics.
No more bad meetings. We are building Mia, a voice-first assistant for meetings.
Open Kitchen, Airbnb for food where you get delicious homemade meals.
Yeah. Usually, we say that the startup are not a democracy but a dictatorship. But this time, fuck. You know what? I'm gonna just take you because I heard a who, and I think you as well. I heard a little who. Okay, the two of you. You're gonna stay here because I heard a who over there. And so I said okay, this is more cheer up. So now we're gonna do it again. But now just burn the place down for real. I don't know. I want to be able to make the difference.
I can give you my mom's lasagna. It's really good.
Do I have to say something again? Well, funny is not my best part, so let's start. Thanks for the dead show.
Okay, and now we think we can announce the winner. And you don't know how to do it? Ah, come on, you can do it. Okay, this is I did last time I got this thing in my mouth and I had some. Right now. Okay, the winner is Funny Guy. Whoa! Thank you very much. That was nice.
Que la famille.